So I'm probably not going to talk much about this game specifically because it's pretty clear from here on out the games for the rest of the regular season are going to be pretty meaningless and quite frankly unwatchable. But the tank is on, my friends. The tank is on. I know for some that was maybe obvious after all the trades they made at the deadline, but I had my doubts. I had my doubts that this team was truly going to be bad enough or that there would be a mandate to throw some of these games. But no, they're definitely bad enough. They're certainly going to be losing the majority of their games for the rest of the season. And all I got to say is, I hope it works out. I hope the Bulls get lucky in the lottery, which, mind you, they're going to have to get extremely lucky in the lottery, given the fact they're already so far, quote unquote, behind the lottery standings and aren't going to be able to fall behind most of the teams that already are below them in the standings. So yeah, I hope they get lucky. Hopefully they somehow hit on that 3% chance of landing the number one pick or a 14% chance of moving up into the top four. I hope it's all worth it because it's really all they have at this point. And to me, my biggest fear, and something I've been expressing for a while now, and why I don't believe in tanking, is what kind of impact this is going to have on these young guys' mentality. Is this encouraging the right kind of behavior and habits, losing night in and night out? How is it going to affect their development and confidence in getting beat down night after night? Now, you would hope, we have guys that are strong enough mentally to not let this affect them, use this as motivation to try and get better, use this as an opportunity to essentially play pressure-free basketball, learn from their mistakes, work on every facet of their game, and not have to worry about winning. But for these young guys, they want to win. They're competitors. And knowing that this team, this front office, is aiming to lose the rest of the season, you do wonder how that's going to impact them, because at least in tonight's game, I saw a lot of hanging heads, a lot of frustration, a lot of giving up on plays, a lot of looking like they really don't want to be there. And yes, that even includes Modest Bucelis, who has always been the type of guy who takes every challenge head on, doesn't back down from anything. Doesn't really seem like a lot phases him. He looked dejected tonight, and I'm sure part of it is, it's that time of year where guys are just waiting to the All-Star break. Modest has played in every game so far this season. I'm sure he's tired, but this was the first time this season, not even just this season actually, but in his career, where he really looked like he didn't want to be there. And that worries me. If you have one of your young, what we hope anyway, to be a promising young player that you can build with for the future, seeing that change in his demeanor, or even having him question is this where I want to be long term? Am I going to waste my early 20s and key development years for a team that doesn't want to win and doesn't really have an immediate plan for how they're going to go about winning? Now, I'm probably overreacting a bit. Modest is from Chicago. He's spoken very highly of the organization, and he doesn't strike me as the type of guy that just quits when things aren't going well for him, but it is concerning to see him carrying himself in the way that he has been over the past few games. Modest was okay tonight, shot 6 for 13. He's really had a hard time finishing around the basket and has been focused more on his three-point shooting. I would say the same thing also about a guy like Jaden Ivey, who started out his career being on the worst team in the league, going through 28-game losing streaks. His team finally gets to a position where they're the best team in the NBA, and they trade him. What does that do to his psyche, his confidence? And I won't lie, I am a little worried when it comes to Jaden Ivey. I mentioned this in my last post-game video. He does not, at least for now, have the same athleticism, explosiveness, and leaping ability he did before this recent injury, the leg injury that he suffered last season. Now, hopefully that's because he's still getting back to his old form. He's still getting used to his body post-leg injury. He was out for a very long time, but it is a little worrisome seeing him take the ball down the court on a fast break, drive to the basket, and has to pull it back out because he's not able to beat the trailing defender off the dribble. One other thing I'll say on a related note to the Pistons anyway, because I know some will say, well, look at the Pistons. They tanked for years. They were horrible, played unwatchable basketball, and looked how things turned out for them. Didn't seem to impact their young guys and their play. It's just not an apt comparison. It really isn't. I mean, one, every team's circumstance is different. What the Pistons did was more than just tank all those years to get the core players they have. One of the top picks, by the way, being Jaden Ivey. But they also built a proper roster around them with veteran talent. And of course, they got lucky. Everything sounds great when you're going down a tanking route, but at the end of the day, you still have to get lucky, very lucky. The best odds you have at landing the number one pick is 14%. That's the best chance you'll have at landing number one. And the Pistons, fortunately for them, they got that and landed Cade Cunningham. The Bulls have tried to go down this route before too. tanking to try to build through the draft, and it got them the number 7 pick for 3 consecutive seasons. So yeah, I mean, forgive me for complaining here. I know we talked about there being a lot of negativity surrounding the state of the Bulls right now, and that's because I was always against the idea of tanking. I've never thought that to be a viable strategy. Hoping to get lucky is not a plan. Instilling losing habits in your young players, your fans, on the chance that you might at best have a 14% chance of landing the number 1 pick is not a foolproof plan. And as I've said before, it would have been one thing if the Bulls had committed to this new direction at the beginning of the season, meaning the offseason or even at last year's trade deadline. I still wouldn't have liked the approach, but at least then you set yourself up for the odds, the best possible odds from the get-go, to make this decision halfway through the year when you've already won too many games and putting yourself in a position where you're probably going to have the 9th or 10th best lottery odds just makes no sense to me. Also, the last thing I'll say about this tanking rant. I see a lot of people who wanted the Bulls to tank all season, and now they're griping and complaining for how bad this team is and how they've looked in the past 2 games. This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted. You wanted the Bulls to pick this direction and start rebuilding. That's what they're doing. They're losing games. They've lost 6 in a row, 9 of their last 10. So I'm confused by what you're all complaining about. So anyway, enough about that. What I will say on a positive note is I like what I've been seeing from Rob Dillingham. This was a player I was actually the most down on after the trade deadline, thinking he likely wasn't going to make it to his next contract in the NBA, but I like what I've seen thus far. Granted, he's playing with zero pressure right now, but Billy's letting him play. He's been aggressive in using his quick first step to blow by his man, getting to the free throw line. His passing skills and court vision have been better than I've expected. 16 points on 6 for 12 shooting, 7 assists, 3 steals. Not bad. I like what I've been seeing. Need to see a larger sample size of him playing like this, but it's been promising for a player I had such low expectations of. Also, Patrick Williams had a decent game and was aggressive in handling the ball and actually finishing around the basket. Pat getting more minutes than Modest Bucelis, though. Yeah, I don't know about that one. In fact, Sexton and Rob Dillingham got more minutes than Modest as well. This is why I can't trust Billy Donovan and the coaching staff when trying to tank, because his rotations and the guys that he prioritizes when it comes to minutes and usage just isn't conducive if you're trying to get the most opportunities and experience for your young players in a rebuild. Like, Ivy came off the bench in favor of Colin Sexton. Patrick Williams got more minutes than anybody else did tonight. I don't know, man. I'm sure there is some kind of wisdom behind it, but like, if you're going to rebuild, give the guys who are actually part of this team's future the most opportunities here for their development. Just a thought. Anyway, thank God we're at the All-Star break. I think we all need a break. Let me know what you guys thought about this game, or just your general thoughts on the Bulls and their tanking effort. Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.